Hello, I'm Robin from Molten Modular, and here we are back in the DIY corner. It feels like I haven't been here in an age, but I have a huge amount of kits to build, and I wanted to get started off and warmed up with something relatively straightforward. Well, at least I hope so, and that is the LKDelay Mk2 from Axis Modular. By the looks of things, I mean, looking at the manual, it looks, you know, there's a bunch of resistors, a bunch of things, a bunch of front panel bits and pieces. How difficult could it possibly be? which is always my approach to these things before I then crash and burn in a terrible disaster of a build. But hey, I've been fortunate most of the time, and I plan on continuing in that vein in order to put something together relatively well, in the hope that my building of it and my struggle with the struggles that are inherent in DIY Eurorack are helpful in your own journey. And we have a special feature in this one as well, which is this. What is it? Well, it's a device, a tool for holding PCBs, which was sent to me by the good people at Toolour, in the hope that I might use it and find it useful. So I'm going to give it a go. I mean, me and tools have not always got on particularly well. I just tend to fudge on with what I'm doing rather than try to get myself embroiled in some other kind of equipment. But this is quite interesting. So we're going to use it throughout. That's definitely the plan. So let's have a start by checking out all the bits and opening all the boxes. So within the paper bag we have a PCB. Doesn't look difficult. Just the one PCB, can you believe it? Just the one. And then the front panel here. I think the main difference on this one from the original is that the feedback is latchable. I think that's right. So we will have a good look at that. Put those to one side for the moment. Let's check out what else we have. I've got two little bags. One says R, one says C. I'm saying resistors, capacitors. Put those to one side for the minute. Otherwise, we've got a couple of those. Some knobs, some switches. A couple of chips and transistor-y type things. But why don't we see if we can match the picture in the manual. Seems like a good place to start. So I can see we've got four of those. There's over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, next to those bits there, which can just go off the shot. That's fine. I've then got a 10K, one of those, a 50K, and a 100K. Now I've got a 50K as opposed to the 25K which is on the screen. Now I've had this kit quite a while. It may be possible that they've updated it, but we'll go with what we have, which is always the best policy. Then got a shroud for the power. Got the two chips, which I'm going to stick here. Let me get those into the picture. Like so. A couple of those. Oh, I've got a couple of other knobs here. They go down the bottom. Like that. I've got a white knobs. Mine are white as opposed to black. That's okay. These two fellas go alongside there. Got a switch which goes down there. A couple of screws. A red button. Yeah, it's looking similar. And let's have a look at the resistors. I wonder if they're labelled. I think they might be. That's fantastic. You don't ever see that. I'm forever having to measure these blooming things. So there's some 10Ks, 100Ks, 3 10Ks, a single 120, yeah, single 22, yeah. Pair of diodes, sit over there. Whoop. pair of 27s, 3 1Ks, and a couple of 47s. Yeah, that's all good, looking all good. Capacitors then. So I've got a bunch of electrolytics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he's got 6 in his picture. And I got a bunch of blue ones, a bunch of these knobbly ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and those and a weird green one. Yeah, I mean, it looks to me like we have everything, more or less. That's looking pretty good. So we should probably get started. So we will come back. It's got a full list of all the parts, which is great. That's always good to see. We can go through that if we run into any trouble. But I'm not going to individually identify everything at this point. I think we're just going to get on with the build. And if we find something that we don't have, we can then try to find it. Does that make sense? Good. Build process. Right. Firstly, place the resistors. Label the values. Recommend you double check. I'm just going to go with it. Just going to go with it. Place them in batches or do them all at once. Prefer to take time. Once soldered, trim off the legs. Okay, so we are first and foremost going to be looking at the resistors in this form. So he shows you where they are on the board, which is great. I'm going to get these out. Mustn't also forget my safety goggles. Where the heck are they, I wonder? There they are. So here it is. Here it is. Do you see? It's very simple. It's just springs and things. Springs and things. Pump, 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 pump. One side or the other. It's magnetic, which is, I mean, that's interesting in of itself. But the thing that's immediately obvious to me is that it's not angulable. It's only in one plane. So, but let me move these bits. I know it's the resistors that I need at this particular juncture. So I'm going to move everything else out of the way. Put the resistors there. Okay. So what I want is to hold this so that I can place the resistors in it. I think that's a good place to start. So, I don't know. I mean, I can just sort of do that. Now the magnetic part of it is really quite severe. But if I have it like this, then I don't know. I'm just thinking, because what the Helping Hands does offer is angling, but of course it's also loose and crazy and falls over itself. So this is not, as far as I know, I can't twist it in any direction. It just holds it straight like that. Is that useful at this point when I'm putting resistors into the board itself? I do not know, but let's try, shall we? So let's start off with 100Ks. Got 100Ks here. Going to need my glasses so I can see what the heck's going on. And these are R1, R6, R14, 15. So there's an R6. There's an R1. This is not done. This is not done in any particular order. Okay, that's okay. It's okay. So I'm going to take my resistors. I'm going to have them together like this. I'm going to bend them all like that and then twist them slightly. Take that off and bend them all like that. That's just how I tend to do it. So R1, R6, 14 and 15. So there's R1. There's 15. There's 14. and R6. Okay. I don't know, I'm sitting here in sort of expectation of something. Now obviously I want to solder these. Turn my soldering iron on, but I can't because they're the wrong way up. But has this helped me put them in? Sort of, because it's raised, but I'm still going to have to splay these out underneath in order for them to stay rather than coming out when I take it off. So putting them in with this, I don't know whether I'm gaining anything with that at the moment. If I just take this off for a second. I mean, normally speaking, I also worry about the magnetic qualities, but hey, I'm not going to dwell on that for the minute. Because normally speaking, if I was going to put in, for instance, I'm going to put in the 120, which is this one here. It's got a label on the actual resistor. 120, and this goes into R2. You know, I just do it like this. I can bring it close to me. I know what's going on. I can find the hole. I can put it in, push it through, splay the legs. So honestly, I don't think that the Toolour device is of any help in mounting components, at least not at this point. It might be different when we get to other things, but as far as I can see, it's easier for me, honestly, to hold it in my hands for this particular bit. And then we'll have a look at what happens when we try to solder. So I think I'm going to put all the resistors in and then solder them all at once. So 27. 27 is R3 and R18. R3, R18, 18. Just like to point out on here, just a little tiny writing. There's some thank yous on here. Thank you to the family, Simon Arnold, who I think is from the, and the Synth Shed crew. Jason Jervis, look at that. To Naomi and Dave and Robin Vincent, look at that, I'm on there. I'm on the actual board. That's rather nice. There's also Gaz, Left Field, Radiohead, Dub, and thanks to you. What a lovely thing to have. A lovely thing to find on a PCB. That's just brilliant. Where am I? So the 22 is this one. Right, so everything is in, and now I've just got to do the soldering. So we now can have a look at this and try it again. Now, I'm also wondering at this point whether it should go this way, or maybe it's better if it does it that way. Is that better or worse? Then I'm going to be pushing down, and that's going to give it a thing, whereas this is going to give us a bit more leverage. So maybe we'll continue with what I'm doing, and the fact that it just about fits. Now they have two sides to them. Maybe it's better if I go through this side, which is slightly more grabby for slightly more grabby for a PCB rather than these ones, which are probably for wires, I should think. Can I get that? So there, there we go. It's sat there. It's not going to be rocking about like it normally is. Is that going to be of any use to me at all? I don't know. Let's try it out. So I'm going to stick on my safety specs. I've got my soldering iron. Go in here. Got my solder. That's good. Let's give it a go. Good. Right, I missed a couple. just needs a bit more solder, I feel. There was one here. Okay. There we go. Alright, so on first use, it's very secure. It's very much there. These things don't seem to get in the way. I quite like the fact that this is raised up a little bit towards me. I kind of wish I could angle it a little bit, perhaps, but we'll see. I've got a lot more components to put in yet. We'll see how that goes, how easy it is to shift around. But yeah, no, that was all right. That was all right. Good. Right. So I've done all that. What I need to do now is cut all the bits off. Sadly, someone has run off with my good clippers. Now, clipping while in here, is that good, bad, ugly? I need 3 hands, really. I need a pair of helping hands. No, I don't need that. So I do that. And then, gosh, these really are terrible clippers. I'm going to have to go and find my other ones. This is a disaster. Where are my other ones? Oh well, just have to persevere for the moment. There's not a lot of solder on that one. I might just do a little bit more there. Those are shocking, I say, shocking little bits of stuff sticking up there. That's just terrible. I might have to go and do that, tidy it up later on. Now, I mean, these, could they have another? Oh yeah, look at that. You see, that's rather nice. So you're multi-purpose. That's very, very useful. Assuming they come off. Yeah. Ow. Useful if spiky. Right, what's next? The diodes, D3, D4. These are not particularly complicated to solder those. Then you're looking at the IC holders. I mean, generally speaking, you're looking to do the lowest... Oh my goodness, look at that. Oh my goodness. I was not very careful with that, was I? Oh, and see, this throws up an interesting factor, does it not? Look at the state of that. Is because these are off the ground, because I would normally solder things here so that you're pushing against them as you're soldering to ensure that they are flush. Because I'm not doing that, because these are up in the air, then it's no good, is it? So I'm going to have to weigh up the advantage of having this slightly higher and well held by this device, and whether this is good. I might have to get better at bending the legs, but what's going to happen, okay, we're going to get to the next bit in a minute and we'll see precisely what happens. This is interesting. So what I need to do what do I need to do? I need to push these in, because that's ridiculous. How do I do that? I mean, I'm just trying to think. If I take these off here, I can put them like that, and it just does hold it, and then I can push it in if I hopefully not burn my thumb. So which one is this? This one here. Okay, it's a little bit better. See, they're just not very flush. So I created a problem for myself by using the Toolour. Using the Toolour, what do they call it? Multifunctional soldering clamp wire holder PCB fixture DIY tool. See, that's very, very natty. Very natty. Okay. Well, as I say, we're going to keep on going and see whether this ends up, on balance, being useful. Right, next, diodes. These two fellas here. Now, of course, these have an orientation. They only go one way round. And the band on the diode tells you which way around it's going to go compared to the markings on the silk screen. So if we look here, they are, where is it? Over here by the power, because these are power diodes. You can see the line on them. You want to orient the line with the component. So where is it? Right, see that? It's got to go in like that. So that line's the same, yeah? So it goes in there. So if I pull that nice and tight, and this in here, that way around, pull it nice and tight, spread the legs, as it were. See, look at me, I'm already getting a little bit, let's say, fair with it. Now it's going to move. Well, just trying to try out every angle. Woo. Okay. Now there will be times that I forget to switch screens, and I apologise about that ahead of time. But I think we get the gist. We can cope. So that's those two in. Trim off the legs once you're happy. This manual is really, really good. I like the detail very much. I like the fact that we've got a diagram of it as well as a photograph. Those two things are brilliant. Having one or the other can be useful, but having both at once, fantastic. Fantastic. So this is where it's all going to go a bit Pete Tom. So we got two IC holders, a big one and a small one, taking care to put them the right way around. So the little one goes over here, and they should have a notch which is on this side, which goes with a notch on the silk screen. I've got a couple of bent legs I'm going to need to sort out, otherwise that's not going in. That's better. Those are all through. This is the slightly larger one. It goes this way around. There you go, it goes in nicely. Now this is where we could run into some problems. To hold them in place while soldering, either stick a bit of masking tape over the top, or you can bend a leg. So I could put masking tape over the top. I don't like to do that. I don't find that very reliable. But the problem being is when I turn this over in order to solder it using this, there's nothing holding it in. The other alternative is to sort of bend a leg, which you can do. So I can push against a leg there to bend it, and another one in this corner. Out. And the other one is over here, which is already holding itself in quite well, but I think I'll do the same. Push that corner over. So with a bit of luck, that should hold them. It should do. So let's turn it over. And hold it. Still haven't quite got the method of putting it in the jaws very easily yet. Like that, like that. Right, that may work. let's see how we go. Okay, I've just done one leg of each because I want to, how do I do this? Maybe like that. Like that. Just want to check that they are flush. Yeah, so I mean that's working. That's definitely working. Push those down together. Oh yeah, maybe I'm getting the hang of it. All right. Okay, that worked. I got the nick in the right bit, in there, matching the screen print, which is the right thing to do. Those are on. Great. Next. Ceramic capacitors. So the big, these funny lumpy ones. This does get in the way a little bit while I'm looking at other stuff, I have to say. Right, so 5 ceramics. No, yes, 5 ceramics, 104. There's 103 as well, so we need to investigate these. 104, 104, 104. There's the 103, that little one there. So let's move that out of the way. We've got these other ones first. And they are... let's get this the right way round. Same as there. So they are C10, C5, C4, 14 and 15. I put it completely not in any hole at all. That's not it. That is something to do with that patch socket. Oh, honestly, come on, sort it out. So there, 15, there we go. It's very clearly labelled. And 14. C4, C5, C5, and one more down at C10. Bring our thing back. Turn it upside down. Grab hold. Turn it board over, one at a time, nicely. Yeah. Solder. Okay. Right, they're all on. They're all on nicely. So, alright, so I'm starting to feel that with a little bit of thought and prep, that maybe having something underneath isn't so bad, or not having something underneath, rather. Maybe I could stick a bit of foam here, or have a piece of foam that I could push into a little bit. I don't know, I'm just thinking. Back to the manual. This is all coming together nicely. Gonna have to stop in a minute for some lunch, but let's put in the single C18 10 nanofarad ceramic capacitor. So this is the 103 that we ignored last time, and this happens over here. C18. Right. Well, okay. Well, let's just do it. Well, let me just, for comparison's sake, how would I do it if I didn't have that? I would just place it down like that, and I would push against the side, and that would hold the component in. Like so. There's a little bit of movement, but that's not a terrible thing. So the question I'm trying to answer for myself is whether the Toolour thing, the crazy DIY holding PCB grabbing fixture feature, is of benefit when all is said and done. Don't skip on this step, where it may be difficult to solder the other side capacitors. Right, turn the PCB over and find the box capacitors. Careful not to mix them up. You're looking for the one labelled 104. Don't skip this step. May be difficult to solder the other side capacitors. Interesting. So we are looking for a 104 J100. Gosh. Well, that is a 104. Is that the only one? Yeah, that's another one. Find one of them. Okay. Looking for one labelled 104. So there's more than one. So I've got this one here that's labelled 104 J100. Alright, got that? Good. And this goes on the other side as C21. I mean, it's labelled on the front here nicely, so that's where you have been putting them up to now. But this is C21, which is here on the back. Now, these are not polarised, so it doesn't matter which way round they go. Place it in, bend the legs, turn and solder in place. Trim, reflow. Right, so we're going to bend the legs. Now, obviously putting this one down is a little bit more difficult on here because it's going to rock about the place. Is that a problem? Not necessarily. But hey, let's bring in our weirdo things. Put that in here. Grab hold. Now, the soldering is in here next to this thing. So I want to position this a little bit better so that I'm not accidentally melting this IC holder. Yeah? So we do it like that. Let's do this side first so it's a bit steadier. Oh, my solder is bending in the wrong direction. Okay, good. So I'm going to get my soldering iron inside here, not touching the plastic. Yeah, job's a good one. Now, I don't know if you can see, but because of the way I bent that, right? Because of the way I bent the leg, it's now encroaching on where this other capacitor is going to be. So I kind of wanted that leg to be straight, not bent. You can see that? You can see that, yeah? Now, I could try pulling that, maybe I'll try pulling it straight. Right, well, let's see if I can do that a little bit. Not easily. I mean, that's been a little bit better. I mean, the fact that it's held by these two things gives me a little bit more leverage than I would normally have. So I'm trying to use one hand to grip and push back at the same time. There we go. So maybe it's going to reflow. Maybe that was good. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's good. Right, so what's next? Sticking all the others on the other side. Legs out, solder, trim, reflow. So this is all, I think all the rest of the box ones are the same. But let's check, shall we? How many are there supposed to be here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Find the other 704s. So what's that saying? Right, so let's have a look. 6. No. 7. Okay. So 6 and 9 at the top. 22. 16 down the bottom here. Right, turn them upside down. Are they going to fall out? No, they're just going to wiggle a little bit. All right. Well, let's go with it. Let's go with it. A bit like that. That one's all right. No. Okay. Hold that one there. Come on. There we go. Oh. What am I doing? What am I doing? Like that. That'll work. I mean, they're a little bit wobbly on this side. Still can't think these resistors are brilliant. Oh, they're just so funny. Anyway. Let's snip these fellas. So they are all good. I've just got the other two to put in. So that'll be a good place to stop, I think, for a bit of lunch. So let's put these two bits in. C8 and C19. C8, C19, elastic capacitors. Now I'm just going to do these on the fly, right? Again, just comparing how that works to doing it with the funny holder thing. I mean, I guess perhaps my most honest assessment would be I'm not entirely sure that I have a problem that I'm trying to solve that this would solve. I mean, sure, it holds things steady, and that's no bad thing. But I'm not really suffering particularly when doing it on here. I mean, there are times when it gets a bit dicey. There are times when you have to stick it down with bits of foam to hold things in. But this is not necessarily going to help with that. It just gives you a more stable platform for the general soldering. I'm just not convinced at the moment as to whether I actually need a more stable platform. I'm not saying it's not useful. I'm saying it definitely is useful. But it's one of those things where it's not. It's bringing something. And I'm on the fence about whether it's more trouble than it's worth, or whether it's trouble worth investigating, worth doing, worth using in order to benefit from the stability element. But we're halfway through the build. I'm going to go and have some lunch, and I'll come back and we'll do some more, and we'll see how we feel at the end. Right, we're back. Where did we get up to? Just put in the capacitors on here, and we've still got one big fat green one, and all the electrolytics to put in. So let's just get stuck into it. So this green one here, this is where you'll place the green Mylar capacitor. Mylar. Is that where Mylar Melodies comes from? How interesting. I hadn't thought about that before. So this goes C7. Okay, C7. Get myself back into what on earth am I doing at the top here. C7. It's a little bit wide for the holes you've got. Let's get back to it. Now, I did find some other clippers. These ones here. But these are actually Warhammer ones. I don't know whether they're going to have the gumption. Oh, well, no, they seem to work all right. A little bit less clunky than the others. And next we have the power regulators and the transistor. Okay, those are these two things here, which look very similar, as you can see. Now the transistor is the one that's got the bendy legs, this one, and the power regulator is the one with the straight legs, that one there. Alright, but that also depends, so you have to look on the thing, on the actual thing, to tell what it is. So let's assume this is the transistor, but it's got 3905 written on it, or 3906. Yeah, 3906. Okay, so that is definitely the transistor. That is known as Q1 on the board. Down here, 3906. So it has to go the right way around. You can see on the screen print it's got the flat bit. So that's what you're going to need. So you need that middle leg to bend out a little bit, so you can get that all squeezed in. Oh, it's a little tight, a little squeezed in there, so that the flat part of the transistor is poking, facing the right way. Just going to wiggle that all the way down, hopefully without breaking anything. And then the other one is going to be up here, which is, gosh, I can't read that even with my magnifiers. We're just going to assume that that's the right thing. This goes into U2, which is here. Again, make sure the orientation is right, and that's in. So let's bring our thing back in, see if that's worth the trouble. Let's see. Okay, so I can hold on to it there. It's getting more troublesome to hold on to it. So now I've got a bunch of capacitors there, so I'm going to have to hold on to it there. So that highlights another potential issue, which is that you might run out of places to hold on to it with, I suppose. Right, let's get into here. Good, good. Flip over the board. Trim the legs and reflow. Okay, I did that. Don't scare me like that. Okay, the box header. Box header, what we're talking about is the power supply header, which is this thing here. And this goes into a corner, I think, this top corner over here. It's got a key in it, or a notch, and that needs to be the same as is on the silk screen, so you can see where it is. So it needs to go this way around. It's slightly poking over the edge, look at that. So this is one of those occasions where these are a little bit too thick to bend over with my thumbnail, so I'm not entirely, so I mean I can tape it down, I suppose. I'm just not very happy with taping things down. I think it's better to push against stuff like this. So I think on this occasion I'm not going to use the tool. However, this thing here is too tall. It's going to get in the way of trying to push this down, because normally speaking you would try to do everything in height order, and this thing here is a little bit too high. Now I could bend it just like that, and perhaps that would make it slightly easier, and it does. So I'm going to do it like that, and as I'm soldering I'm going to push down to try to make this as flat as possible. Do a single leg, hold it so it feels like it's going to be flat, and then release. Then give it an eyeball. See, that's pretty good. I mean, I don't think it's perfect, but that will do well enough. It's not in anybody's way. All of the front panel stuff is going on this side, so this is going to be on the back of the module. Yeah, good enough. I'll continue with it. Then we are onto the electrolytic capacitors, which are these round barrel-y ones that are polarized, so you need to have them the right way round. Now, generally speaking, the long leg is positive, and the short leg, as it says down the side of here, is negative. Positive and negative. So find the 6. They are positive and negative pins. Make sure you're getting the right way round. Long leg is positive. Solder a couple of times if you need to. Take a break. We already took a break, so we are in this for the win now. So these appear to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. These are all the same, I believe, and so all fit in the same bit. Long leg positive. Now, these are all labelled on here, which is great. If there's a line on the side of something like here, that usually means negative. So the other one is positive, long leg into the positive hole. Squish it down, bend the legs. Long leg positive. In you go. Long leg positive, positive first. Long leg positive, long leg positive. Cool. And then you can solder all of those. Let's bring this back in, just so that we're using it. Now I just need to, where am I going to clip? Okay, I'm going to clip there. And this end's a bit easier. Clip there. Okay. So that's all those. Testing what we've done so far. Gosh, that's exciting. So now that all the components on the component side are completed, oh, and the lovely blue capacitor, this one here, it's a good time to check if there are any shorts. It's good practice to do this. Save some head rubbing later. First thing to do a visual check and meter to make sure there aren't any obvious shorts between the power pins. Once you've checked there are no shorts in the power, you can proceed. Okay. So, visual check. And I have to say, actually, that on the power here, that the pads on it were quite close together, so there does look like a possibility that you can short this out. But hey, let's do what it says. I think I've got a multimeter. So are we just doing continuity? Is that the idea? Set the meter in continuity mode when it beeps. That's not it. Thought that was it. Okay. So if you so the idea is that you put it together and it will beep. So set the meter continuity mode and check that the plus and minus 12 volts and ground aren't connected. Right. So it doesn't matter what that reads. So I'm looking at these pins here. Well, how do I know what ones they are? I mean, there's nothing written on the board to tell me what they are. On the board, you'll notice a convenient ground point. Grab a multimeter. Okay, we'll do that in a minute. So, power rail. Okay, I'm going to go back up to the power rail bit, because because the thing is that we've put it over the top of all the writing, so it tells you what tells you what it is, but you can't see it now because you've put the component over the top. So what would be handy would be to have the writing either on the underside or sticking off to the side somewhere. So I know that the red stripe down the bottom here, these are both going to be -12 down these two pins at the bottom. So they should beep, which they do. Now what shouldn't beep is that with anything else, I think. So if I put my thing down there, not at the top, none of those are shorted to -12. +12 at the top. There you go. And similarly, nothing should be having a problem down that end. Is that all I need to do? I mean, I don't know. They're all shorted across themselves. Is that okay? Oh, I just don't know. I really don't know. So what does it say again? Hang on. It says, check that the plus and -12 and ground aren't connected. Well, which is the ground? How do we know what that is? I mean, what I've tested is that those two are connected, those two are connected, but that one isn't connected to anything else, and these two aren't connected to anything else. So in terms of one of these in here is going to be ground, it's not connected to those. So as far as that's concerned, it's passed the test. But yeah, it's a personal gripe of mine that in manuals, when it asks you to test something, it just assumes that you know what that is. And if it's not clearly labelled, I think that tends to be a little bit of a problem. So there is something perhaps that could be done there to help. Rather than assuming that we know what all these pins mean, we just need to be told. Thank you. All right, once you've checked that, you can proceed. So on the board, you'll notice a convenient ground point. Will I notice that? Oh, one there. It says Grund. And text to indicate +5. No. And text to indicate +5, +12 and -12. Well, there's a +5 there on that first pin. There's a +12 over here, which I guess refers to that pin. There's a -12 just hidden away inside there, which must refer to that middle pin also. Okay. Right, grab a multimeter, set it to read DC voltage, pop the supplied Europack cable into the header to power your power rail. Pop the black test lead onto the ground and then check the power. So you want me to plug this into power, right? Heck. Okay, that's pretty heavy at this point. So we're going to plug this in here the right way round. See, the notch goes into the notch. So my ribbon cable is essentially backwards, but hey, what can you do? What can you do? Bend this over this way. Now I have this little thing here, which is a Bafaco USB power what's-it, which is very, very useful. So I can plug this in and get it to power the module with a bit of luck. So it's got a couple of outputs here. I can just plug that in like that. Grab a power cable, plug it into a USB socket here. Oh, there's an on button. Look at that. Good to know. Now there's no LEDs in this build, so I'm not being treated to anything. Any lights on. I've got no idea whether that's powering or not. The important thing is we're not seeing any smoke. There's no smoke coming off it, which is a good sign. Right, so what it's asking me to do. So black test lead goes onto the ground. So is this a good opportunity to plug it into there? Is that going to help me with this as opposed to sitting on the floor? Possibly, that might make things easier. Let me turn this off just for the minute. Okay, turn it back on. So this goes to ground, which is here. That goes to there. And I should get 5 volts if I click on the 5 volt one, which was here. 5 volts, look at that, more or less. And plus 12 was over here. Well, 11.26, is that close enough? And there's a minus 12 here. Minus 11.61. I think that's close enough. I think that's fine. So, successfully tested. Carry on with the build, it says. I don't think I've ever done a test halfway through a build. I mean, before actually finishing it. That's quite interesting. Or it's something, at any rate. Let's bring this out here. Right, so move on to the control side. Right. Depending on what kit you've purchased, you either have a 25 or 50 metal shaft. Okay. Potentiometer. And a 100k or 10k mix. Remove the nut and washer. These are placed onto the PCB as shown. Do not solder yet until all the common parts are in place. Right, so we are going on to this side of the board, this side here. And we are dealing with these pots. So at the top here we have the 25 or 50. That's a 10. That's a 50. That's 100, so it must be this one. So these are little awkward things with their bent pins and such like. Let's try to stick those 3 in at the bottom first, I find. Once you've got those pivoted in, the rest of it comes together quite easily. I've got a piece of thread there. Anyway, supposed to take off the nut and the washer. This is the 10k. The 10k goes on this side. 10k mix. Ooh. Like so. And the other one is the 100k. Goes over this side. Do not solder yet. Okay. Okay, I've just adjusted the white balance a little bit because it was just kind of like I was looking very anemic. That looks a lot better. A lot better. Good, good. Right, where were we? Yeah, okay, we're not soldering. The important thing, we'll put those things on. Let's carry on. So we've got a couple of trimmers to go on. These are these ones. So they go on down here. Okay. Now I've got a little bit of sticky outy bits where I didn't trim these very well, and you're not gonna want any of these legs poking into the bottom of the trimmer. So I'm just going to trim those down a little bit. Good, good, good. As the trimmer's in, do not solder. Then we are looking at the toggle switch. Remove the top nut and washer from the switch. Oh, we're talking about this toggle switch. Remove the top nut and washer. Place in the 3 holes. Alright. Top nut and washer, not the bottom one. Do not solder. So this is here. So where does it go exactly? Because it says that place into the 3 holes. You'll notice 5 holes. So which 3 holes? The middle 3 holes? I think so. It's not clear. Not clear. I mean, there's a photo here that does look very... Oh, rats. It does look very much like it's in the middle 3 holes. But it's quite hard to say exactly. So I think perhaps a note on the manual just to say put it in the middle 3 holes would be good. Because that seems to be where it goes. Do not solder. And then put the red button, this one, where it should go. It's got a flat bit on it so it can go only one way around, to make sure that fits with that. Cool. Do not solder. Finally, we've got to add the 4 patch sockets at the bottom. Again, it's saying take off the washers. So that's these bits here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So with this, you've got a hole that sits outside the screen print, and that's for the twangy, earthy leg. Alright, so push that into there, and then the rest of it should just sort of plop in nicely. Then carefully put on the front panel. Attach the washers and nuts for the pots, then the socket and the switch. Make sure they're finger tight. Everything fit nicely. So turn over and start to solder. So what we're trying to do is marry this up onto here. With a bit of luck, it should just kind of just happen. It's going to need a few adjustments. Get it over those bits. Rock it down nice and gently. Got the patch things through. That sat nicely. Yeah, I can tell you the switch now does go in the middle because that's the only way that's going to fit into there. That makes sense, I suppose. Still saying you should probably mention it. Alright, so that's down and more or less good. Then we can put the nuts and washers back on. Hopefully we're not having to take this off again, because that does happen. I don't think that this wants the washer, but I'm inclined to think the washer should go underneath. That's a shame that I did that last. It doesn't look right with a washer on top. Just check back to the switch. What did it say? Remove the top nut and washer from the switch. Well, okay. So I'm going to not put that washer on because it just looks ugly. I'm going to put the screw on. And what I will do is I'm going to adjust the one underneath, if I can. don't know that I can. That's it. I just want to bring that nut up to the top, like so, so that this one can tighten against it without, otherwise it's going to pull the component out of here before you solder it. You see what I'm saying? Good. Everything good? Yeah, everything fits, feels nice, it's good. Yeah, it's looking good, looking good. Oh yes. Solder each corner of the jack socket pins first, make sure everything's sitting nicely. Okay. Begin soldering. Yeah, we've still got to put the chips in yet. Right, so now, where are we soldering? Soldering on this side. Everything can balance fine on here. Now if I bring this into play, it's now too big. It's now too big. So this is standard Eurorack size front panel. So what can I do? I can, alright, let's not give up. Let's do it like that. Is that helpful? Could be. Could be. I mean, I've actually got quite a lot to get in, so I wonder how helpful that will be. Let's try it out, boys and girls. Let's try it out. Right, so I've got some heavy soldering to do over here. Okay, I just noticed that trimmer was not all the way through because it has nothing pushing from underneath. Oh, some missing there. Haven't done those ones. Good, good. Right, now we've got to do like that. Now we've got to do these chips. Take care of the ICs, static, wristband. I've got, actually my mat is attached to an anti-static wristband. Both ICs have a notch to put them in the right way around, so we've got them here. So let's have a look. Now one thing I'm not able to do at the moment is locate my wonderful leg straightening tool. I don't know where it is. It's going to be in this place somewhere. So I'm going to have to do it the old school way. So we've got two, they're different sizes. We've got the 2399, the delay circuit. You see, I knew that. I absolutely knew that. How funny is that? I'm starting to get things in my head. So the 2399 is here. It's on the board. You can see it. There, you see the writing through the IC holder, which is great. So often that does not happen, but that's the way it's got to go. And it's got to go so the little nick out of the front goes that way round, and that should just pop in there nicely. Now, the legs are slightly too wide, so what I do is this crazy notion of I just rock it against the floor a little bit in order to straighten up the legs. You feel it give a little bit, and that's probably enough. So I'm going to sit that on there, double check it's the right way round. There's the nick. I can also see the nick on the screen print in there, so I'm just going to push that in smartly. Great. This one here, it's going to go that way around, Similarly, it needs just a little bit of rocking, so I'm just going to rock it on that side, rock it on there. Hopefully that'll be enough. That way round, I think so. Push it in, and it's in. Not entirely flat. There we go. There we go, a bit better. Good, good, done, nice. It says they should fit firmly in place, and they do indeed. Knobs, finally. Put the knobs on. Now this is always a question at this point, because if I put the knobs on, it's sort of declaring that I think it's working. And that I'm not going to have to take the front panel off in order to investigate all the soldering. I don't know that yet. So I kind of want to test it before I put the knobs on. That's kind of how I always feel about it. That feels like a good, because these are push-on ones as well, so once you push them on, it's really hard to get them off if I'm going to need to take the front panel off to investigate something that's gone wrong. So it's a lot less glamorous, but that's what I'm going to do. I need to find some modular that I can plug this into, so I'm going to bring along this little bit here. Create a little bit of space. Got an oscillator here that I can use to run through it. So let's plug that in. A filter. Let's just make sure this functions and that we are getting sound out. We've got some lights on. It's always good to see. Okay, good. So now we're going to take our little what's it here, plug it into power, and as we turn it on, I'm just going to look to see whether anything goes bad, if any of the chips go poof, anything like that. No, nothing. Going to put a little screw in. So I'm going to take the output is going to be, I guess it's only going to be single. I've got a, I don't know what that's for. I don't know what that's for. Well, let's just take one output, right? Take one output. One input into there. So the idea is that this creates a feedback if I hold the thing. It should create like a feedback loop is the idea. Which then goes away when I release it, or I can latch it on. So I want to give it some kind of something or other, so that it's it's playing a sequence or some such. Let's see if I can do that. So that's working. Just going to take an output to try the CV input. Now that might be a clock input. Maybe that's what this is. So, I mean, I could obviously look in the manual, but I'm just working it out as I go. Yeah, that's exactly what that is. Right, so as far as I could tell, that was all working. So I'm going to stick the knobs on with the kind of assurance that it's going to be all right. So I'm going to stick the knob on a bit like that. I've wound it all the way to the left. I'm going to stick it pointing at the latch. I'm going to squish it down. Oof. See, like I say, it's never coming off. Be careful what you're pushing against on the underneath. These ones similar, all the way around to the left, then point it in the corner in the bottom of that circle. Ow. This one the same. Ooh. Yeah, they're good. They're good. So there it is, complete. I'll do a proper test, a little bit of video at the end of this, just to show it fully functional. But yeah, there we go. So there we go, the LKDelay from Axis Modular. Mk2. Mk2, oh yes. Yeah, good. Documentation, excellent. Couple of points perhaps I could poke out to say, hey, you could mention this or mention that, but otherwise it's a really great guide through. The fact that you've got printed, picture diagrams of where everything is, the layout, the PCB layout, and photos is brilliant. That's exactly what you need. You need to be overwhelmed with information rather than have any doubt as to what's going on or where things are going. The way it took you through it was great. Good. I've got no complaints at all about that. I think it was a good job, a good build, well put together, and it's a nice little module. Can't say fairer than that. So I'm going to go off and have a little bit of a play, and I hope that was useful. And in the meantime, go and make some tunes.